Well, let's just get into the offseason. There are a lot of moves made, but most importantly, Donovan Mitchell is a Cleveland Cavalier.
I did not think that Donovan Mitchell was going to be traded this offseason. I just heard all the rumors. We've seen rumors with big name players before. Once Rudy got traded, I thought, all right, it's going to happen if Donovan Mitchell outright requests a trade. And I just didn't see it happening. And yeah, caught me by surprise big time.
Yeah, I didn't think that they were serious when the rumors came out that they were looking to trade him before training camp. If anything, I was kind of expecting them to really drag out the process even more, because that's just kind of how the NBA works. You know, it's like, oh, the rumors, someone wants to be traded, but it doesn't always happen as quickly as we would like it to happen. So the fact that it did happen, and the fact that it did go to the Cavs, that the Cavs won the prize of Donovan Mitchell, I mean, to me, it's not surprising since I mentioned it a couple weeks ago. Yeah, but
Andy,
maybe even a team that's a little close to home here is maybe like the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Ooh, Andy.
Could be a little interesting. I don't know necessarily if they have the draft capital to provide that, but Collin Sexton is a good young player that could be added into that package.
Andy, make a quick cut to that after this of Christian making that, and then time lap it back to Christian talking about. Continue, Christian.
Yeah, and so that was, you know, an idea that was just kind of outlandish in a sense. I was like, you know what? Yeah, the Cavs, they kind of want a guard that can score the ball. Why not Donovan Mitchell? So it's kind of cool to see it actually come to fruition. I am kind of bummed in the fact that Lauri Markkanen did get moved on, because I felt like his shooting is something that is very valuable to the Cavaliers, because that's my biggest concern with them right now is like their floor spacing. You know, you have Jared Allen and Evan Mobley who aren't good three-point shooters. Darius Garland's not that great of a three-point shooter. Isaac Okoro is not very good. And those are four guys that are in your starting lineup right now.
Yeah, there's serious concerns, which we'll touch on when we forecast next season and what we think they can do. There are concerns with floor spacing, but Cleveland, I don't think right now they're looking at the roster and this is the finished product this is the team that's going to contend. I think that this year may be a adjustment year, but they acquired a serious star, and that was their goal. A young guy too, who's under contract. This move was really solid.
It's an awesome move, and now Cleveland has one of the best backcourts in the East, and maybe one of the best backcourts in the NBA. And when you hear that as an NBA fan, or as a Cleveland Cavalier fan, that has to excite you, because when you have one of the best backcourts in the NBA, historically speaking, you're going to be a pretty darn good contender.
Yeah.
And what a great move, because we've known the Cavs as this is LeBron's team, and that kind of has been an identity. How do you shake that? And they already started to shake it last year.
Yep.
This now, you can shake that identity because they will have a great identity away from LeBron James.
Yeah, that's a good point. I also am curious if any of you guys think that Cleveland gave up too much for this trade. You mentioned Lauri, maybe you wouldn't have given him up.
Yeah, I mean,
3 unprotected first-round picks, I'm pretty sure, in a pick swap, I think is what was included with Sexton, Lauri, in those picks. I believe that's what it is. Can you fact check me on that?
Yep, it's 3 first rounders, 2 pick swaps, Lauri Markkanen, the new rookie, and
Collin Sexton.
Okay, so
thank you, producer Andy.
Yeah, and the new rookie's Abaji.
It's Abaji.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say. It all depends, on my opinion, on how Collin Sexton develops. I know he's coming from an ACL tear, but he kind of just didn't fit the mold of the Cavs. There was a lot of clashing that went on with Collin Sexton, so I can understand moving on from him. But when you kind of look at the stats of Sexton and Mitchell kind of side by side, they are similar. Not saying that Sexton is of the winning quality player that Donovan Mitchell is. I'm just saying, like, he's young, so it's like that's not something that Sexton could potentially turn into. You know, it's like,
Sure, with Collin Sexton, it's like a maybe. Oh, that'd be really cool if he can get that. They got a guy who is that and has done it in the playoffs. The series against Denver, like him and Jamal Murray going back
Just
and
trading
forth.
50-point games with
Crazy, dude. And he's done it for years. It's not like Collin Sexton, who averaged 24 for one season and is like a kind of a locker room knucklehead. Not saying that's what he is, but that's kind of the stigma that comes with the name Collin Sexton. I think you get a surefire guy. I like the move. All-Stars, you know, there's guys that come available frequently in the NBA that are of star value, but you don't find a guy like Donovan Mitchell who is that star, but also under contract and young in his lower 20s. You don't find that. So this is the move that giving up all those picks, they gave up a lot, but in my opinion, to get a guy for those reasons, it's so worth it.
And in the NBA, you have to make moves to win championships. Very rarely do you come upon like a Golden State where you're able to just draft all these pieces and can win that way. For the most part, you have to make risky and tough decisions in order to succeed. And that's what Cleveland did right here by acquiring Donovan Mitchell. We know some of the stigmas with his defense, whatever, but he is a world-class scorer, and I think that is going to boost anything you'd get from, you know, what they trade away. Losing Lauri Markkanen, I think, actually is more of a bigger loss than Collin Sexton, just like you mentioned, for the floor spacing, the fit he had with the team. But I'm still making this trade 10 times out of 10 if I'm Cleveland. I'm taking Donovan Mitchell. I'm taking the risk because it gives us a better chance to win a championship versus if you hold on to Sexton, Markkanen, and just kind of play your cards from there.
Yeah, and I see what you guys are saying, and I feel like it's hard to say how to rate this pick, or excuse me, this trade, just solely off of this year. I don't think they're going to do anything. It's really the years after to where they're going to retool and figure out how to make this team better, and then from there, they're going to be contenders. But this year, they'll be good. They'll be better, but it's just like, it's the next step. Like what's the next players that they're going to acquire to make this team to the next level? Because like I said, I'm really concerned about their shooting.
And that's a valid concern. They need to figure out floor spacing.
Yeah, and Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell are both smaller guards. But again, you have Evan Mobley and Jared Allen who can back you up. So it's like, does the fact that they're both like 6'1", does that even matter?
I mean, Mike Conley played side by side with Mitchell, and they finished first in the West. And granted, they struggled in the playoffs, right? But first in the West is first in the West. So, you know, that's kind of the one thought I get when you think of maybe smaller guards. And Conley's awesome. I love Mike Conley.
Yeah, no, definitely. They're going to be electric. They're going to be so much fun to watch. And I'm super excited to see the Cavs play. I'm trying to go in with a little bit of hesitancy because I don't know exactly how the fit is going to be with the Cavs quite yet.
Yeah. Andy, you got something for us.
Yeah, okay. I have two things. One, I love the Donovan Mitchell trade, but I think they kind of gave up a lot. I really wish that they wouldn't have gave up the rookie this year. But, I mean, I see how, like, you know, you got to get the trade done, and that's, like, one of the final pieces that's got to go with it, then so be it. But I think it's going to be really fun, though. I think the one thing Donovan Mitchell's – now, I'm not sure of, like, the entire what, like, the culture's like in Utah and everything and what it's like over there. But, like, Cleveland, it's a basketball city, you know, like, low-key. And the culture around the Cavs is really great, and the team gets along really well together. And, like, they go in it together and they come out of it together, and it's a very team-focused team. So I think he's going to enjoy that, and I think he's gonna really find himself a great spot here.
Yeah, I heard rumors that when the trade went down and he heard that the Cleveland core was still there and he was stepping into that, he was golfing, and he said he was jumping around and screaming at the golf course out of joy. That's what I heard.
Yeah, because it's exactly what you want. Like, it's a perfect situation to fall into. You have Darius Garland, who can really move the ball. You have Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, like two really big guys that are going to be pretty good for the next few years. So it's like it's the best of both worlds there. Like, you're walking into a great defensive situation where if that's your one weakest point, the rest of the team can really pick that up for you, and we can watch Donovan really flow into like the star that he's meant to be.
Oh, you're still here. Well, while you're here, why don't you give us a like, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram at Small Ball Podcasts.